Spanish politicians to visit the frontier ahead of temporary treaty implementation. Equality Minister Christian Santos tells Parliament parental leave provisions will be introduced shortly. Businesses concerned at the rise in minimum wage, unions pleased with increase in public sector pay. And Aida Barea, best known for her role as La Lola, dies aged 91. Good evening. Spanish politicians will be at the frontier on Monday ahead of the temporary implementation of the UK-EU treaty. The Spanish Foreign Minister will meet Campo de Gibraltar mayors and social representatives ahead of the symbolic ceremony marking the removal of the frontier fence. Europa Sur reports that José Manuel Álvarez has invited local authorities and community representatives to a briefing before the event at the frontier, which is expected to be attended by the Spanish Premier Pedro Sánchez at around noon. The UK-EU Gibraltar Treaty is due to be signed in Brussels on Tuesday, with provisional implementation expected from Wednesday. Gibraltar will hold its own event to mark the occasion on Tuesday evening, with the Chief Minister hosting a reception at the airport. Over to the budget now. Equality Minister Christian Santos has told Parliament parental leave provisions will be introduced shortly. The ministry launched its public consultations to transition from maternity leave to a modern shared parental leave system back in 2019. In his budget address, Mr. Santos said passing legislation was never easy, but said this would be done right.
I'm also pleased to report, Madam Speaker, that I will shortly be introducing parental leave provisions, delivering an important enhancement to workers' rights and support for families in Gibraltar. It is right that parents are given the opportunity to spend valuable time with their children during those crucial early stages, and the introduction of parental leave will help parents balance their family responsibilities with their professional commitments while promoting the well-being of children and stronger family bonds. This measure reflects our commitment to creating a modern and family-friendly workplace which provides greater flexibility for working families and ensure that Gibraltar's employment framework continues to evolve in line with modern expectations and best practice. I'm preempting the opposition's criticism, stating that we have been at an advanced stage on this since 2019. Madam Speaker, passing this type of legislation is never easy. If it were, I can assure you I would have already got it done. But, as you already know, if I am going to do something, it will be done right.
Mr. Santos said a recent Gibraltar survey revealed 72% of respondents were confident with LGBTQ persons being in positions of responsibility, while only 11% did not. He said this was significant in a world where LGBTQ rights were being challenged. He said new legislation was being introduced to protect trans people from discrimination and hostility. On supported employment, Mr. Santos said that a pilot scheme will be introduced within this financial year to incentivize the hiring of individuals with disabilities. He told the House one of the greatest barriers people face is not a lack of ability, but a lack of opportunity.
We will launch a 2-year pilot scheme providing relief on employers' social insurance contributions for businesses that recruit eligible participants. This will be underpinned by the dedicated support of our Supported Employment Office, which will work directly with employers to facilitate placements, carry out workplace assessments, identify reasonable adjustments, and provide ongoing in-work support. This includes helping employers understand the nature and duration of support required in each case, ensuring that arrangements are tailored, practical, and sustainable. This initiative is intended to encourage more employers to recruit and retain persons with disabilities, while supporting our wider social value project by promoting inclusive employment, strengthening workforce participation, and helping more individuals access meaningful and sustainable employment.
In her budget address, the Shadow Minister for Health and Justice, Joe Ladislaus, said she believes the prevailing feeling in Gibraltar now is one of discontent and mistrust. Opening her speech with references to the Principal Auditor and McGrail inquiry, Ms Ladislaus said it's been a year worthy of a Hollywood thriller.
Issues relating to the Justice Ministry took up a lot of Joanne Ladislaus's address in Parliament. She touched on power cuts, the emergency 999 line and police funding.
Looking at the figures in the estimates book this year under the policing head, I'm relieved to see that it has finally, after 8 years, and I checked that, of having the same budget with negligible differences, received an increase to its budget. Whether that increase will prove to be enough to provide the RGP with the resources it needs to deal with upcoming challenges remains to be seen. I observed that the budgetary increase has only come at the 11th hour, when provisional implementation of the treaty is expected as from next week. Just like the government have known for some time that there would be Spanish boots on the ground, or maybe it's rubber shoes, or maybe some babusha, it will have had a good idea for some time that our law enforcement agencies would require increased funding and resources.
In respect of the manifesto commitment to build a new police station, Ms Ladislaus quoted the GSLP's 2019 and 2023 manifestos, both of which mention the intended location as the Rook site.
We're now almost 3 years on from that beautiful artist's impression from 2023 and the unequivocal promises of 2019, and the new police station remains nothing more than a picture in a storybook. No significant refurbishments to or expansion of Newell House, and radio silence as to its potential relocation. And at a time when we need to have our best foot forward in terms of our security, when that frontier fence comes down. Yesterday, the Honourable Minister for Justice referred to refurbishment works at Newell House. Doesn't sound like the police will be getting the promised station.
She also suggested damage is being done to the health authority's reputational standing as an employer, as it continues to struggle with staff retention and future planning.
It's not enough to say that there's a worldwide shortage of healthcare professionals when little is being done to motivate them to remain when we do attract them. This applies to the GHA in its entirety, not just within mental health services. Word gets out in healthcare circles, and regardless of our access to NHS recruitment platforms, damage is being done to the GHA's reputational standing as an employer.
Ms Ladislaus raised concerns about the parliamentary calendar, which she suggested is like a Kinder Egg, but with the fun and chocolate taken out of it.
Emergencies happen, extraordinary sessions arise. But the fact is that it's not the norm around the world to use the parliamentary calendar and timetable as a tactic to make things more difficult for the opposition and to throw the public off when it suits the government. The lack of provision of a proper calendar by government may seem small and it may seem insignificant, but it does have a big impact, especially for young families in the height of summer who can't make any concrete plans whatsoever. It may be that ministers make their arrangements so the calendar reality works disproportionately against the opposition. And it's not good enough to say that it's always been like that. Shouldn't it change?
Bringing her speech to an end, Ms Ladislaus congratulated the Speaker on the introduction of the Youth Parliament initiative and the young people who took part for their interest and commitment.
The tone of the opposition's budget response was set from the outset, with Tris Sanchez accusing political opponents of holding women to different standards. She said female politicians were dismissed as too emotional, criticised for their appearance, and even subjected to comments about photographs shared on social media, arguing women should be judged on their policies rather than their personal lives. She then turned to what she described as years of failure affecting some of Gibraltar's most vulnerable people, focusing on disability services, mental health and elderly care.
And I know the questions that many parents carry quietly every day. What will happen to my child when I am no longer here? That is the question, and that is the fear. So when families ask for a disability strategy, assisted living, respite, and clear pathways into adulthood, that is what they're really asking for. They are asking whether their child will be safe, whether their child will be supported, whether their child will live with dignity, whether the system will still be there when they are not.
Ms. Sanchez said almost 8 years after the Disability Act became law, key provisions remain unimplemented. She said Gibraltar still has no national disability strategy, no statutory SEND framework, and no equivalent of education, health and care plans, leaving many families without the support they need.
Is now approximately 18 months for children applications and 15 months for adult applications. The government also confirms that there are currently 154 outstanding disability benefits applications, 67 relating to children and 87 relating to adults. Of those, 71 applications have already been waiting for between 1 and 3 years, Madam Speaker. For children, 29 applications have been outstanding for between 1 and 2 years, whilst for adults, 40 have been waiting between 1 and 2 years and a further between 2 and 3 years.
Well, despite welcoming the increase in disability benefits announced in this year's budget, Trish Sanchez argued the system itself remains broken. She said some benefit appeals have remained unresolved for more than 3 years and called for greater transparency together with more regular assessment panels.
We are talking about tens of millions of pounds of public exposure. We are talking about a building that remains at the centre of the government's elderly care policy, yet whose operational model still remains unclear. The public deserves to know how much has been spent, how much has been lent, by whom, to whom, what remains outstanding, and what repayment terms are in place.
Ms. Sanchez also questioned the government's handling of the Rook elderly care facilities, saying there were still unanswered questions over its future operation despite significant public investment. She went on to criticise recurring maintenance problems at elderly residential services, arguing older residents deserved facilities that were safe, properly maintained and fit for purpose. Well, in his budget speech, the Shadow Minister for Youth, Tourism and the Environment and Transport acknowledged that progress had been made in some areas, but said the government must now focus on delivering solutions and taking advantage of the opportunities ahead. And the youngest member of the House, Giovanni Origo, spoke of youth, asking if Gibraltar offered them a future.
Last year, I argued that youth policy too often focuses on activities rather than opportunities. I stand by that observation, because whilst activities undoubtedly matter, opportunities matter even more. Young people want opportunities for employment, entrepreneurship, professional advancement, opportunities to own a home, opportunities to remain in Gibraltar without feeling that you're sacrificing your ambitions to do so. That should be the benchmark on which every youth policy is judged.
On tourism, Ms. Origo questioned when a tourism strategy would be published, saying the sector requires a clear roadmap. However, he acknowledged progress on plans for the new cruise terminal. He said the continued recovery in visitor numbers was welcomed, although the challenge was not only attracting visitors, but ensuring they contribute more to the economy. The Shadow Minister concluded his speech by saying that the government's challenge was not in identifying problems, but delivering solutions. Well, opinions on the budget were divided on last night's viewpoint. While business organisations expressed concern at the rise in minimum wage, unions were pleased with the public sector pay announcement. Unite says it has now started the process of balloting members. Jonathan Sacramento chaired a series of interviews on last night's programme.
As we speak, I am working with our conveners, working with my colleagues in the office to get workplace visits done. And as of next week, we'll be visiting workplaces, and it's going to be a hectic period for us, but I think it's important to get all the information to our members, clarify any points. We're in the process of clarifying points with the government as well.
And those very businesses, the sectors which are affected by the transaction tax and which have to now evermore compete with similar businesses on the other side of the border are now going to have to pay a much higher minimum wage, and it's a minimum wage that is considerably higher than the minimum wage across the border.
For us, the most significant of which is the increase in the minimum wage. I think for many members that will come as something of a surprise because obviously it has a very significant impact on members who have employees that are paid minimum wage, and also comes at a time when many businesses are already facing a number of challenges resulting from the forthcoming treaty.
So the 40 million figure that Minister Feetham has been talking about for quite some time is based on a loss to Gibraltar as a result of the rise in remote gaming duty in the UK, the last budget that Chancellor Reeves did in the UK. That figure is obviously only an estimate. We cannot see how that is going to unwind. Companies change behaviour. It is unlikely that a company will just take a hit.
But yeah, I mean, the deferral is basically, there'll be obviously a discussion, and it's not a loss, so complete loss, where you say, look, we've got this economic situation and we'll go back. So it's given an assurance that we're not going back as we've done previously and see ourselves in the situation we've seen before. We'll be in a situation where we can obviously look at what is happening, what is the deferral going to be, and agree on when that is going to be.
So that's an important detail. Any deferral will involve a negotiation.
Of course. So anything that involves consultation and negotiation gives us strength.
So there's quite a few people who are upset, who wanted to come to Gibraltar. They wouldn't necessarily be freeloaders. I think many of them would be quite happy to have their private medical. Many of them are older, so they're unlikely to use schools or their children to use schools. And to be a sector who give to the community, are in clubs and societies, go to restaurants 3 or 4 times a week when we're all working.
A murder investigation has been launched following the death of former Tory politician Anne Widdecombe. A 26-year-old has been arrested. A prominent Eurosceptic, she supported leaving the European Union in 2016 and would later defect from the Conservatives to the Brexit Party, which would go on to become Reform UK. She won the South West England seat, which included Gibraltar, in the 2019 European Parliament election. Anne Widdecombe, who was 78, made many visits to the Rock over the years during National Day and as a speaker at the Literary Festival.
But I do nevertheless.
Well, you're watching GBC News. After the break, warrants issued for the arrest of 2 Spaniards who failed to turn up in court. And whether you want to chill watching your favourite film in the open air or fancy some heavyweight action, there's something for everyone. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Our world runs on momentum. From the first light over the rock to the plans we make for the days ahead, each moment carries us forward. For 150 years, Capurro Insurance has moved with that energy. Rooted in Gibraltar, reaching the wider world, built on the past, and looking to the future, wherever momentum takes you next. Capurro Insurance will be by your side, every step of the way.
Trident is EORI ready for Gibraltar's new logistical chapter. As customs-approved transport and clearance agents with proven experience, trust Trident to keep your goods moving. Providing door-to-door transport, temperature-controlled services, warehousing, and customs clearances. Trust the experts, delivering since 1989.
If you have employees, then you have HR and payroll. And the computer software you use makes all the difference. EasyPay has been specifically designed to meet the needs of businesses in Gibraltar, whatever the size. For a free demonstration, call 200 741 21 and find out more online at easypay.gi.
Welcome to The Corner Shop, where expectations in painting and decorating go above and beyond, providing the community colour since 1947. From DIY enthusiasts to professional decorators, we offer trusted brands like Dulux, Armstead, Hammerite and more. Explore our expert colour mixing centre, plus DIY and decorating supplies. The Corner Shop, free parking and free delivery.
If you're looking for the perfect spot to enjoy breakfast, lunch or dinner, make your way to Bianca's Bar and Restaurant down at Marina Bay, where we've been serving great food since 1979. Our tempting menu and daily specials are available for dining in or takeaway. Relax and watch the world go by at Bianca's Marina Bay, the happiest place out of town.
Welcome to Cepsa Gibraltar, your one-stop station for every journey. Refuel fast, recharge your EV and drive cleaner with our AdBlue service. Step inside Carrefour Express for fresh food, drinks and daily essentials. From road trips to quick stops, we've got everything you need, all in one place. Cepsa Gibraltar, powering your drive every day.
There's been an issue processing your hotel deposit for your upcoming trip.
Take a moment, because what matters most is worth protecting.
A historic week in Gibraltar's history begins. Treaty Week. GBC and Radio Gibraltar will be keeping you up to date with the latest developments at the frontier. Extended news bulletins on radio, TV and online with in-depth analysis, interviews and across-the-board live coverage of events as they happen. Our new breakfast show with Stefan and Robin starts your treaty day from 7 a.m. Throughout the week, we'll be including a nostalgic collection of local programs reflecting on our border over the years. Treaty Week on GBC and Radio Gibraltar.
Welcome back. Warrants have been issued for the arrest of Nizad Mohammed and Usama Mohammed Sheikh after they failed to appear before the magistrate's court this morning. After a pursuit by the RGP's Marine section on Thursday, 2 Spanish nationals were arrested and charged with dangerous navigation of a vessel, entering a regulated area and obstructing police after their vessel was boarded off Eastern Beach. The vessel was detained pending further inquiries into its ownership. The Alameda Open Air Theatre is once again hosting outdoor cinema screenings. A full schedule has been released for July, which includes classics like Jaws and Mamma Mia. Last night saw the first screening of The Greatest Showman. Movies under the stars. Following on from the success of last year's screenings, the leisure cinemas, together with the Alameda Open Air Theatre, are bringing classics to the big screen again. Last night, our camera crew was there as audiences settled down for the hugely popular Hugh Jackman starring musical, The Greatest Showman. Tonight, it's another classic, Back to the Future.
The outdoor cinema is possible because of the goodwill of a number of people who have their main objective is to share and bring culture to the community. We have Stephen Cumming, who works like a mule with no personal interest. We have Amy, and we have Mark Cortez from the Open Air Theatre. And if it wasn't for them, this would not be possible. It is my obligation, and we feel in the family that cinema is important and we have to keep developing it and bringing it to community as best we can. So we have this screen here, which is good for up to 400 people, and we are showcasing it here, hoping that it might attract corporate rentals and events and maybe larger community events.
And the setup at the Open Air Theatre offers a variety of ways to watch the films, in comfort and in style.
We can fit up to 80 people, and we've got a mixture of deck chairs, and beanbags and picnic blankets, so people can choose how they prefer to watch the film.
Tickets are now available for next week's showings. Organisers are hoping to keep showing movies in the open-air theatre throughout the summer. Aida Barea has died aged 91. Best known for her role as La Lola, she was central to Elia Cruz's plays on life in Gibraltar following the evacuation. Christine Vasquez has this report.
Ay, va, mijo Winston. Vaya regalito de despedida que me hiciste cuando nos mandaron a Londres. Naturalmente, ese niño nació allí y a ese poco le importa de Gibraltar. Pero eso me pasa por llamarlo Winston, como Cheche. Debiera haberse llamado Peter, Michael, Josie, Anthony. Nombre llanito. No, que le puse Winston. Y me di la pata y Dios me castigó.
She was La Lola, who brought a slice of life in Gibraltar alive for future generations to learn about the decades between the 1950s and 60s on the Rock. La Lola se va pa' Londres was first performed in 1966. It encompasses the Gibraltarian identity and life after the evacuation. The comedy examined tensions between Britain and Spain and, through Llanito, reinforced evolving identity and community. Also tied closely to Gibraltar's post-war social and national identity themes was Connie con cama camera en el comedor. Here again, Elia Cruz uses humour to portray a housing crisis. The play was first performed in the 1960s with a rerun in the 90s. Aida Barea again took centre stage.
Connie con cama cadera, el papel mío es muy diferente. Soy la consuegra de Connie. Connie es una persona buenísima, pero nosotros vamos, Carmelia y yo, vamos siempre a criticarla y estamos siempre muy celosas de los nietos y estamos todo el tiempo tirándole timo. Y es un papel muy difícil, porque hay que estar siempre con un gesto que no es el carácter mío, ¿no?
Our condolences go to her daughters Helen and Danielle and her son Lawrence.
Professional boxing returns to Gibraltar tomorrow night for the first time in over a year, and this afternoon the fighters stepped onto the scales for the weigh-in. The night will see brothers Chris and Evan Montegrifo and Tarek Zaina, who is making a return to the Rock to take the ring with 6 bouts happening in total. Our sports reporter Jose Maria Ruiz was at Ocean Village this afternoon and brings us the latest.
Well, that's it. The weigh-ins are done, the weights are made, and the Montegrifo brothers, as well as Tarek Zaina, all made the scale just fine. Brilliant atmosphere here in O'Reilly's for the 6th bout that will be happening tomorrow as professional boxing returns to the Rock since the first time since March 2025. Over a year now. Just a few tickets remaining. It promises to be a big night of action up at the Europa Sports Complex. All 3 fighters are raring to go. Let's see what that's say before the big night.
Amazing, buzzing. Can't wait to let the gorilla out the cage. Can't wait.
There's been a great reception here, family and friends, big support. What's it been like?
It's been amazing. We weren't expecting nothing less. Our Gibraltarians get behind us very well, so now we give it back to them in the ring tomorrow night.
Tarek, for you, the homecoming, I guess it's fair to say, first pro fight back on the Rock. How are you feeling?
Listen, I'm taking it all in. I'm being present in the moment, trying to enjoy it. It's a special event, special moment. I'm still in disbelief that it's happening, so all I can say is tune in tomorrow. It's going to be fun.
And I've seen some of your